systems go. Clear for liftoff. What is going on, Ship It Nation YouTube station? We are back with another edition of the NBA show. We got your boy Ham in here. We got Matt in here. And Matt, they're killing me in the comment sections saying Ham is always late. Hey, Ham was on time today. Ham was not doing any of that funny business. Me and my boy Matt were catching up. I feel like it's been forever. I was out 2 weeks ago with my surgery. Matt was out last week. But Matt was definitely in the streets last Friday night, second place in, I think, 777. So congrats on that big hit. But nice Friday. Nice to bring you in, Matt. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, bro. Also, feeling is mutual. It's felt like it's been months since we've seen each other. So real happy to be back on here talking some hoops with you. Wish it were MLB, but still hoops for now. MLB coming up in the future. And yeah, man, part of what I love, or part of the reason I love working here is, man, I'm doing 3 shows a week right now, each with a different person. And I love each show and each person individually just as much. So these Friday shows, always a blast. We got a bunch of games tonight, fun slate. So excited. Hopefully we can run it back. As you mentioned, last week was a nice night for me. I listened to your guys' show, the Rio fade, or not the Rio fade, the Najee Marshall fade from Rio. We had talked about that a little bit, I think the day before. And then me and him were texting about it, but man, 85% own Najee Marshall in the 777, getting away from that.
Like 15 points.
Yeah, like 15 DK points. So that just went a long ways. Yeah, man, excited to hopefully run it back tonight and break down the slate with you.
Yeah, can't wait to break down this slate. And if you came in here wanting to bitch about somebody getting taken out of the player pool and withdrawing late, you're in the wrong spot, baby, because we're talking NBA in here. None of that. Hey, nobody cares. Work harder, Matt. Get better lineups if you're going to bitch about people getting taken out of your pool. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not. But,
are you talking about the golf?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jake Knapp. Yeah, I unfortunately played some golf this weekend. Didn't have Jake Knapp, but my lineups would probably be better off with Jake Knapp. I'm just reading here. Marquee Sports is going to nickname me Sniffles. I feel like I don't sniffle that much. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I'm more. Yeah. Well, I let's just say that I don't look down upon safety meetings. So we'll put it.
Yeah. See, we got Matt likes him. Ham does not partake in them. Hey, to each his own. It's all good. But a lot of people over here at the Nation do. And one thing you said about working here that's phenomenal as well is that, you know, I was out with surgery, and my guy Rio picked me up last week. You had a miss last week. Rio came in. We're always helping out with one another. So great place to be, not only as a member, but also working here as well. Let's say hello to some people in chat. Sean Sullivan, as always. Jose's in here. Marquee Sports, Mr. Sniffles is in here. Luis Vasquez is in here. Jordan Newens, my man. Axtron, Gangrene, Juice Man, Ricky Rose. What's going on, Ricky? Collins in here. Sam's in here. Gangrene. I think that's everybody. Jake Swell's late addition to the party. But yeah, man, let's break it all down. We got 6 games to talk about. We got the return of the Mac, Mr. Tatum, the cover boy is going to be back tonight. Can't wait to see how he looks. Obviously going to make the Celtics. I think they're the number 2 seed anyway, Matt, but dadgum with him back in the lineup, assuming he could get to 80% Jason Tatum, they're going to be a tough out. Take it on the Mavericks team. Trying to lose every game as possible. Almost got them a dub last night, but they're 14.5-point favorites. Talk to me a little bit about this game, Mavericks at the Celtics.
Yeah, so tough game to love from a DFS perspective, to be perfectly honest, just because we've got, a bunch of games tonight, not like a massive slate, but obviously bigger than a couple of the slates we've had recently. So, man, now I'm like watching out for every time I have to sniffle. Marquee Sports definitely got in my head, so I got to put that to the side.
Maddie Midnight. I like Maddie Midnight better.
That part, that definitely could be true. Depends if I'm awake or not, but that part could be true. The sniffles, though, just in my head right now. Yeah, Tatum being like, I'm someone who's played a ton of Jaylen Brown. He's been uber productive, really, really high usage. Tough to pay full freight on JB with Tatum back in any sort of capacity. Certainly, it's going to be limited, but Tatum's better than Jaylen Brown, and he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton when he's on the court. Doesn't mean Brown couldn't get there, and it's such low ownership. I'm intrigued with Jaylen Brown. I think in tournaments, he's intriguing as like a spend up to be contrarian option. Other than that, I'm not sure what else you can get to from Boston here. Dallas, Brandon Williams back tonight. Cooper Flagg obviously back, playing in a limited capacity. This game looks like a wash from a DFS perspective. Just nothing that stands out from a projection, pricing standpoint. There are good players on either side, certainly on the Boston side. So, like, again, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard.
10K is too high, though. I'm with you on that.
It's tough to like say any of these guys are priorities. I think they're just tournament plays. If you think this game kind of plays really high to the over or something like that, I mean, again, just because the projections and pricing don't look great doesn't mean that guys won't get there. But it's hard for me to sit here and say I love anything from this game at all. It's Jaylen Brown for me, and even that's like very reachy on this slate at this price with Tatum back.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not playing Tatum at 8K. I don't know how many minutes. We got it projected for 20 minutes currently, as you see there. He's almost got to be on a minutes restriction. This game not going to be close. What about your boy Najee Marshall, though? Is at 6'6"? That doesn't seem to entice you at all?
Not really, just because Flagg is back and he's not playing.
Flagg
like
is
minutes.
back. You're right. Yep, I didn't think about that.
When he was in that point forward role, like that's the thing about Najee. Why I call Rio the Najee Whisperer. It's not just that night. It's the night before also. We were talking like up until lock or after lock, up until that Dallas game locked. And he got me on Najee over, I think it was like Jeremy Grant or something. And Najee went nuts the night before. He was chalk. So that's why I call Rio the Najee Whisperer. It's both nights there. So tonight, I can't imagine he likes him here. I don't like him. Doesn't project great. Doesn't project to play a ton of minutes. Flagg back. No thanks.
Last question. What about if Gafford were to miss? He's currently listed as doubtful. Any of these Dallas guys? I mean, Bagley at 4.8. Do you like that? Or conversely, would you go Keita or my boy Vooch? You missed the show last week, Matt, but I was shitting on Vooch. I think he was like 5,100 or 5,000 on FanDuel, and all he did was go out and put up like 28 and 15 last Friday night. So, what about if Gafford misses? He put up 52 DraftKings points last Friday night, 28 and 11. What about any of these centers in this game?
I don't know. Bagley's doubtful, so he's not playing, and Gafford's, I think.
So Bagley and Gafford are out.
Yeah, so then the problem is you're left with Dwight Powell and Musa Cisse. Like, Dwight Powell stinks. I hate playing him at any price, especially at 4.3. Like, he's not even the flat 3K. He's 4.3. Musa Cisse, kind of intriguing, especially in a game they're likely to get blown out. He's questionable himself, I believe. So, yeah.
Well, but, I mean, someone's got to shoot the ball. Like, who's going to shoot it? Who's going to get the rebound? I mean, PJ Washington, 6'2"?
Yeah, he's coming. I think he was decent last night. I mean, yeah, the problem is, to your point, like someone's going to do something, but it's not a good spot. And it's not like their players are dirt cheap. Like the guys that will actually do things like Najee Marshall, he's 6'6". PJ Washington, he's 6'2". Cooper Flagg has a price. So you need more than them just to do things. You need like good games from them. And I don't see it here.
Yeah, agree with you there. Yeah, Boston guys too high. All right, so no love there. Maybe we find some goodness in this. The Heat, my boy Bam was balling last night, taking on the Hornets. I don't know if you saw that shot that LaMelo hit from like 35 feet the other night off like 1 foot.
Yeah,
I think it was against the Wizards. He just drained it. That guy.
I think it was in Boston. I think it was in this game.
No, it was. They beat Boston by like 20 or beat somebody by 20, yeah.
I go from loving LaMelo to hating LaMelo. Depends on my mood. I feel like more than him. There's certain things I just love about him, and then there's certain things I really don't like. Again, just depends on how I'm feeling.
Yeah. All right. Well, good deal. Let's talk about this game a little bit. So you got the Hornets, who are playing pretty good, 7.5-point favorites against the Heat. Like I said, the Heat played last night. I think I cored Bam. He did okay, but $8,400 a pretty big boy price tag to pay. Talk to me a little bit about this game. Heat at the Hornets.
That was so rough as a Khalil Ware fader last night. I played 3 lineups. I played Reese and Wemby, and 2 of them Reese had a really good game, went for like 40 plus. Wemby went for like almost 80. But Khalil Ware off the bench at like 70% ownership had to go for like 60 fantasy points off, I think 15 combined blocks and steals.
Yeah.
Just an insane performance. It was against Brooklyn, so like can't say it was like unexpected, but anytime someone puts up a stat line like that off the bench at that high ownership and I don't play him, I'm going to complain about it. So that's what I'm doing here. But that's the game we play. So I know that it could have worked out on my side also. It just didn't last night. From the Miami side, they got guys in play here because of their price tags. I don't love the matchup. Charlotte has kind of changed their complete tune around from Charlotte of old. They are good defensively, and they don't play at that fast of a pace, a pretty slow pace actually. So it's not that like I love the spot for Miami, but they got guys that are too cheap. Myron Gardner, the flat 3K, projected to play, anywhere from like 20 to 23 minutes, depending on where you look. Going to be really chalky, but 3K playing a bunch of minutes, projects well, weak, power forward eligible, not like the weakest position, but always helps when you're forward eligible and cheap. So he looks good here. Could go right back to Ware in this spot, 5,400. Again, it's not nearly the matchup. And if he were going to be owned like he was last night, I'd definitely want to fade him. He won't be. So that's kind of why I'm a little bit intrigued, but he'll probably be higher owned than he should be. And I just feel dirty about playing him tonight after I didn't last night. So probably not for me, but I get it. Jaime Jaquez looks like a cog in the machine type of play at 5,900, small forward eligible, weak position. We know he can get there. He can have spike upside games. Pele Larson, sure, I'm fine with him. Davion Mitchell. Yeah, I mean, these guys kind of are just filler pieces. I'm with you. I'm not playing Pele Larson on this slate. Maybe as a last guy in, but even then, I think you can do better. If I'm multi-entering, though, I guess that's my point. I'm not taking any of these guys out of the field because their price tags all look good enough where they could each individually get there, even if none of them are guys I'm I need to roster, except for maybe Myron Gardner, and I could see why you would feel that way about Khalil Ware. Bam, I just think is too expensive here, especially with other center options we have on this slate. 8,400 isn't crazy for him, but he's just kind of in no man's land with how this slate is priced out with, expensive guys, obviously Jokic, and then cheap guys that we'll get to like Isaiah Jackson. So
what about on the Charlotte side?
Yeah, so the Charlotte side looks pretty good because they got a bunch of good players and the matchup is good, but they're healthy and they're priced accordingly. So there isn't one guy in Charlotte stands out and looks like one of the best plays on the slate. But if you told me you really liked Brandon Miller at 7,700, I'm cool with him. If you told me you liked LaMelo Ball here at 8,700, totally good with that. Con Knipple, 7,200, I think looks fine. My favorite, I think, because he's the cheapest, is Miles Bridges at 6,400. He's also the most volatile, which honestly, I'll take that in GPPs because there are games where he'll be the highest scorer on the Hornets. And if you get one of those at 6,400, you're in a really good spot. Now, you're not going to project him for that, but in tournaments, I think I like Miles Bridges the most. But all these guys look similar enough to me where I think that it's kind of, dealer's choice.
Yeah, excellent stuff there. I mean, I'm just looking at some of these Hornets guys. They seem, I don't know, man. They just play so many dudes, and I feel like they spread it out.
Yeah.
But, so Bridges is your favorite?
He's my favorite, but it's close. It's not like I'm sitting here he's by far my favorite. That's just kind of a gut call.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff there. Let's head on to the next game. We got the Trailblazers taking on the Rockets. The Rockets played last night, I believe. Denny is doubtful again tonight or questionable, but don't think he's going to play. He's missed a bunch. Donovan Clingan, fresh off throwing elbows to faces, is back in the lineup tonight. Jrue Holiday, his best game in quite some time. Should be in the lineup. Rockets played last night. I think you have Jabari Smith and Amen Thompson are both questionable, but I think both of them are slated to play. Talk to me a little bit about this game. I think this is going to be an offensive affair, but talk to me a little bit about this game. Portland going into Houston. It's only a 6-point spread.
Yeah, I like this game. I think this game is sneaky, especially from the Portland side. And I'll keep saying it. With Denny like projected in every night and not getting ruled out till after lock, it's lowering the Portland ownership. The Portland ownership is just coming in a little bit lower than it should. And I think we see a similar story here. I don't expect Denny to play because he hasn't played in 6 games. Maybe I'm wrong tonight. If so, I'll certainly pivot. But the 2 guys for Portland for me, 3 guys, I should say, the 2 point guards, Drew Holiday and Scoot, and then Donovan Clingan. Like, I don't know. I'm surprised that Clingan isn't projected for more ownership because he just continues to be too cheap. And I know the matchup isn't insane or really good on paper, but he's just too cheap for his median production right now. 28 fantasy points in 12 minutes before he got ejected last time out. He is just absolutely smashing this price tag. And not to be the victim, like a game log watch victim, but just look at his box scores. He's too cheap at 7,600. Well rested after only playing 12 minutes. I also kind of like this game. Clingan is like, at least as of right now, for me, a core play. I'm playing Clingan here. I like him more if Denny's out. I like all of Portland more if Denny's out. But if and when he presumably is out, I like Drew a lot. I like Clingan, and I like Scoot Henderson. All 3 of those guys. We saw Scoot start last time out. I like Portland here. I'm going to continue to play the. Go ahead.
How does Şengün? Is he not good on defense? Like 76 seems high to me, but you obviously don't mind the price, don't mind the matchup, or are you just betting on Clingan?
I'm betting on Clingan. Like, it's not even about Şengün. It's the Houston matchup isn't great. They don't play at a high pace, and their defense in general is good. Not that Şengün's some elite defender because he's not, but Clingan, at least to me, and maybe I'm reading this completely different than how the field is based on what you're saying. He's too cheap to me. Like, he is just smashing this price tag game after game in better spots than this, in spots similar to this. I think Portland's competitive here. He's a man amongst boys in a lot of the matchups he faced. Now, Şengün is big, but he's not going to stop Clingan on the boards. So I like Clingan. I'll continue to play him at this price tag. I suspect that with another couple big games, he's going to be over 8K for the rest of the season.
Wow. What about Clingan versus Holiday? I know they're obviously different positions, but same price in essence. Like, it sounds like you like Clingan over Drew. Would you play them together? Max 1? What?
Yeah. No, I would definitely play them together, especially if Denny's out. If Denny's in, it's easy Clingan over Drew for me because I don't think Denny affects Clingan as much as everyone else. If Denny's out, I think then it's really close. I still prefer Clingan, but I think they look very similar and both equally strong plays, and I think they correlate very well together. In close games, you're going to see them play good minutes. You could see a bunch of Holiday assists to Clingan. Like, I like playing them together and hope that Portland spikes.
What about I know we said that Thompson and Jabari are both questionable. What if, let's say, one of them were to miss and or both of them were to miss? Does that, do you like Şengün much? Huh? Reed Shepherd. Okay.
It's all about Shepherd. If anyone's out and Shepherd starts, it's Shepherd. So I think Shepherd, he's playing really, really well right now.
He's open right now. His last 5, man, he's been balling.
He's in play right now as is. So, like, you get any one of those guys out, he'd become a priority play for me. And then all the other guys would look better. So, like, if Amen's out, I would like KD and Şengün a little bit more. But the main beneficiary, if anyone's out, is Shepherd right now.
Yeah. He's been playing about 35 minutes a night, too. So that's pretty impressive. Jordan likes Şengün tonight. I guess he likes his matchup versus Clingan. Interested to see $9,400. Pretty expensive price tag to pay, $9,400 for Şengün. Good stuff there. I can't wait to watch this game. It was I think it was a double overtime thriller 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now we get the rematch, but this time it's in Denver, 80 feet above sea level. Peyton Watson still out. We got Josh Hart questionable, Cam Johnson questionable as well, and Aaron Gordon listed as questionable. His first action in a little over a month and a half, should he get the go tonight, which he would probably start. But you mentioned the Joker. He had a triple-double last night. Murray has been on the heater all season, I feel like. But talk to me a little bit about this game, Knicks at the Nuggets.
Yeah, so definitely a game that's going to be appealing from both the real life and DFS perspective, no doubt. Denver side probably a little bit easier to, talk about just because it starts and ends, or doesn't end, but it always starts with Jokic. Expensive tag at 12.5. And we don't have great value tonight. And some of the other really good value is at center, but it's Jokic. He can nuke any slate he's on. Tonight is no exception, in a matchup that I'm certainly not scared of against the Knicks. If you can fit Jokic, play Jokic. I don't think you have to go out of your way to jam in all the value because it's not that type of slate, but that also will mean Jokic comes in lower owned than on a lot of slates we've seen recently. So yeah, I like Jokic a lot if you can get to him. Jamal, he's shown a bunch of spike games recently. You're paying full freight for him with Jokic in at 9-1, but he's played really well with Jokic in this season. He plays a ton of minutes. I think if you're playing for this game to go off, Jamal is certainly in play, always in play as a pivot off of Jokic. If you're not playing Jokic, certainly you're more interested in Jamal. It's not the type of slate where if you're not playing Jokic, you need Jamal like we had a few games ago when they played Utah. But certainly in any non-Jokic lineup, Jamal is going to look better. After that, nothing really on Denver is going to be a priority for me, especially with AG, Gordon questionable here. Even if he's out, it's Jokic and Murray for me. Those are the guys that I'd be interested in. Anything else is just, side pieces, I guess.
So let's talk about Jokic for a minute. 12.5.
Okay.
You said there's not a whole lot of value. How many points? How many points if Jokic got? How many would you be happy? What's his over under right now? Not projection. I think 60, 65, 70.
For
how
me,
many would you be happy with?
What I would be happy with and what I would be worried about if I didn't play him, same answer, is 70 plus.
Yeah. I'm just looking. I'm obviously, don't want to go all game log watching all the time, but double OT, 45 minutes. He had a 30-point triple-double and scored 67.5 last time against this Knicks. That doesn't mean anything other than that's how many he had. But, yeah, I think 70 on this slate is what you're going to need for him to be on the winner. I like that. I like that number.
The problem is, he's capable of giving you 90, which at that point, you're dead if you don't have him. Worried about that than the 70, which again, 70, you'd want him, but I think you could win with or without him at 70. Anything more than that, you probably need him to win.
Mm-hmm. Awesome stuff. Anything else on the Knicks side that you want to touch on?
No, that answer, again, though, that's a great question because it is slate dependent, and this is not a slate with good value. There's a reason Myron Gardner is getting so much ownership. Other than him and Isaiah Jackson, the other good value is in the 5, 6, 7K range. So I don't think Jokic is going to be very highly owned here. So maybe that number is slightly less because of that. Maybe it's 67 instead of 70. I don't know.
Yeah, this says 10. Man, you think it's going to be low? I think it's going to be 25. You think it's lower than that?
Do I think it's lower than 25 or than 10?
25%.
I think it's probably around 25%. I think it's, if you gave me the over-under at 25%, I would take the under, but I think it's a perfect number.
Yeah.
At 20%, I would take the over.
So somewhere in that
also
range.
That could change if we get someone out, you know what I mean, because value would change everything. But as it stands now, the problem is the value's just not there, and he's uber expensive. You can fit him, but fitting him with other guys that you want to play is difficult. He'll get owned because he's Jokic and he's that good, but it's just not the type of slate where it's 3 easy value pieces and then Jokic and then figure out the rest later. It's just not that type of slate.
Yeah, Ricky asked a good question. Single entry, would you dare fade him?
I mean, I don't even think that's like, I don't look at it like that because I think that most people aren't going to play him. So, like, yeah, I think not playing him is wildly in play. You're always fading Jokic at your own risk, but he's going to be, I mean, even in single entry stuff, probably 30% owned. So 70% of the field isn't going to have him. So I don't think it's a crazy fade at all.
100-man field, I bet you 50% of people have Jokic.
I disagree, but I also think it depends on like how, like what the buy-in is for that field.
100 plus.
I get your point. Like, I think he'll be higher owned in those contests. I think you're going a little bit overboard saying 50%, only because it's hard to fit him, man. Like, and there are other good players on this slate. Like, Kawhi is going to be popular. Wemby is going to get a little bit of love. And then even if you take those guys out, like Brandon Miller, a couple of the other really good plays on this slate are centers, Khalil Ware, Oso Iguodala, and Isaiah Jackson. So, like, the circumstances of this slate, I don't think he gets that high in any contest. That's just my opinion, obviously, though.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's why we're having these conversations. Great stuff. Great stuff in the chat as well. We talked a little bit about the center position for Dallas. We don't like the backup Dallas centers. Think fade them at your own or play them at your own risk, but I don't like him.
Yeah, that's more of a play at your own risk, not fade at your own risk like Jokic.
Yeah. Play at your own risk. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Play at your own risk. Fade. I think you're in the money if you fade the backup Dallas centers. Your boy Dwight Powell. Next, what about the Knicks? We did touch on the Knicks. I know I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't. I love those combos. I think people like hearing that more than even the breakdown of the games. And I like talking about it more. So any questions like that, bring it on. The Knicks do look appealing here. Josh Hart, questionable, as you mentioned. Mikal Bridges, really good price tag at $6K. He's getting ownership, as he should. Small forward eligible. I like him here at $6K. He's getting owned. The field likes him too, but I think he's a solid play. Josh Hart himself, 6,500. Can always play him in competitive games. Jalen Brunson, yeah, like you're paying full freight for him at 9K, but he's been good recently and he's got upside in this spot in what should be a competitive game where he plays a ton of minutes. So I got no issues with Brunson. Between him and Murray at the same exact price, that's tough. It's easy to say that if you play Jokic, you want Brunson with him. So I get that. I also think Murray has the higher ceiling. We've seen Murray throw up multiple 60-plus games recently. Brunson has that in his bag, but much less frequently, I should say. So that's a tough one. OG, I think, is in play here. You've got Mitch Rob back tonight, so I'm not going to mess with Karl Anthony Towns, but, you know, his offensive game is good enough where he's got upside anytime he steps on the court. Just haven't seen it a ton this season, quite frankly. I like the Knicks. The only guy I would say is like a priority piece would be Mikal Bridges. But if you get Josh Hart out, everyone looks better. Bridges looks better. OG looks better. And then even Brunson looks better. So just, you know, pay attention to that news.
Yeah, pay attention to that news. Who's going to win the game?
I like Denver at home. They won last night against the Lakers. Should be a good game. I don't have a strong take there. Who do you think?
Yeah, I hope the Nuggets. I hate the Knicks. I got a lot of hate in the heart, I guess, though. Brunson just flopping around in there, flailing his arms. I can't stand that stuff, man.
I don't even think we've done a show since Harden got shipped to Cleveland, have we?
No, I don't think so.
But you know what? We might have done one because we talked about Garland. I think we did one.
Okay. What? How do you like it now? 3 weeks in.
I like
it.
The
fact that Darius Garland hadn't played a single game yet.
So yeah, right. I know Garland he can't stay healthy. I know he's out tonight. I think he's played 1 or 2 games. I like it. I mean, the Cavs got another dog, someone who is available that can take the load off Mitchell. Now it's been unfortunate. Mitchell's been out like 4 or 5 games, so haven't seen them at full strength. But all in all, they kind of push their chips forward with Mitchell, and I like it because I think they're live to come out of the East this year. And even though I think the West up top is better than the East, even OKC isn't as infallible as they were last year, they would probably beat Cleveland in a series, but I don't think it would be the lock like it was last year. And even last year, they were in game 7 against Indy, and Indy was cooking before Halliburton got hurt. So you never know.
Yeah. I can't believe the Pacers took them 7, but anyway, that's a story for another day. Let's move on to the next game. We got 2 games left. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. And if you are driving in the Scottsdale, Arizona city limits, please watch out. Dylan Brooks is a madman out on the streets. So make sure you steer clear of old DB. Dylan the villain, back at it again in his old ways. He will not be suiting up tonight. He has a broken hand. But talk to me a little bit about this game. No Dylan, but from the looks of it, everybody else is pretty much going to be in. Jordan Goodwin obviously still out. Mark Williams, but outside of that, and Dylan Brooks, outside of that, looks like the Pelicans are pretty healthy with Zion, Trey Murphy, my boy Sadiq Bey. But should be another game that gets up and down. But talk to me a little bit about this one. Pelicans at the Suns, 226.5 point total.
Yeah, this game is, at least from a 30,000-foot view, appealing from a DFS perspective. Certainly pieces from both sides are appealing, if nothing else. We'll start with Phoenix. I think they're probably a little bit easier to break down. Actually, they're both pretty easy, but from the Phoenix side, 2 main guys I'm looking at here. Actually, 3, we'll call it. Starting with Oso Ighodaro. Just looks like a guy you can plug and play here. He's not dirt cheap, but with Williams out in this spot, 5,200, he's been pretty productive. He looks really good. I like him quite a bit. I'll be playing him. So I like Oso Ighodaro a lot. I like Devin Booker. I think he is, at least in play here. He hasn't shown a ton of upside this year, but man, he's only 8,300. So D-Book, one of my favorite players in real life. I can get on board with some Book here in a game that I think is competitive and, as you said, gets up and down the floor. Jalen Green, another guy I like here. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, not getting a ton of ownership, priced pretty fairly in a game I like. So I like Jay Green. I like Grayson Allen also. He's more expensive than I'd like, more than Green. So I like Green a little bit more, but he's been good this year and has spiked upside. So I think those 4 guys, if you're playing a bunch of lineups, maybe Colin Gillespie, are all in play, with Oso like the priority piece that I'll be playing a bunch of.
What about
from
Ryan
the New
Dunn?
Nah, nah.
Metro Boom was asking no Ryan, so no Ryan Dunn. I'm with you on that.
Nah, I'm never looking.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you were going to the Pels, so go ahead.
No, unless he's like dirt cheap and you got a bunch of guys out, I'm not really looking to play him, and you have neither here. So got guys back, and he's 4,200. So watch, he's going to go for 30 DK points tonight, but it won't be on my squad. From the New Orleans side, bunch in play. Main priority for me is DeJounte Murray. I'm a huge DeJounte Murray fan in general. Not playing like a ton of minutes, but uber productive when he's on the floor. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Ty Jerome, but I think there's more minutes upside with him. I'm on DeJounte Murray here. He's just a guy I like a lot from a fantasy perspective. I mean, he's got massive upside even in limited minutes at this tag. Like, if you know anything about his game, NBA DFS from years past, he can fill it up in a hurry. He's a guy I like. Talking to myself more on him as I talk about him, because I just like him a lot. So him and Oso, the 2 priorities for me for this game. But I also like Sadiq Bey, as you mentioned him a little bit. I think he looks like a cog in the machine type of play again. Talked about those guys a couple times, and he fills that role here. Zion, he's coming off a good game. Was worried about the injury situation, but he looked pretty good. So I think at 7,900, he's got upside. Trey Murphy also has upside at this tag. Hate that he's only guard eligible, but it is what it is. I like this game. Outside of Murray, no one else from New Orleans is like a lock and load for me, but I could see myself playing a bunch of this game in any one lineup. I don't think you have to do that, but I could see it for sure.
Yeah, good stuff there. Devin Booker, I liked your call on him. What about What about Klingon and Oso in the same lineup? Obviously, would take up your center and util. What about you? You fine with playing both of them?
I am. Because the thing is, I don't think Jokic is a lock. We talked about him. Khalil Ware isn't a lock for me, especially as he gains ownership steam. The real guy you're fading there, honestly, we haven't talked about him yet, is Isaiah Jackson. And, this is an interesting DFS topic when you have these.
We're going to get to him next.
Yeah, we can just kind of lean into it now.
Okay, let's do it.
I like Isaiah Jackson here. He projects well at 3,300. But when I say he projects well, if you get 22, 23 fantasy points from him, that's a good score. And he doesn't even project that well. At 3,300, you'll take that. But with only being able to roster 2 centers, if Oso goes for 40 here and Klingon goes for 50, let's say, Jackson's 23 is bad.
23 won't be on the winner. Isaiah Jackson won't be on the winner tonight.
Okay, so you think he's not a good play at ownership?
No. He's going to score 25 points.
If he gets 25, that's a good game from him. If you
I'm
told me he was getting
a good game, I'm not saying it's not a good game. I'm just saying he won't be on the winner.
Well, that kind of goes into what I'm saying is that if you get 2 centers, let's say again, right, then his even 25, you don't want.
That's what we talk about in NFL too. Yeah, so it's like
you get what I'm putting
Jackson's
down.
Fine from a salary saving perspective, but Klingon, Oso, Jokic. I know obviously the price is completely different, but those dudes could go for 30, 40, 50, 80. Wemby.
Right.
80.
Wemby. Yeah, for sure. No, we see this very similarly. I'm fine playing Jackson. If there are lineups I really like if I want Jokic really bad, or if I need a cheap guy with Oso and I'm not playing Klingon in that lineup, I get playing him. I'm not going to have 0 of him, but I will say to the first build I make, if I were playing one lineup tonight and someone just asked this, I'm pretty sure me personally, I would have Klingon and Oso. And all this talk about Isaiah Jackson and these other guys makes me understand why Klingon won't be highly owned. And I love that.
What about this? Would you go one of the big boys and then Isaiah Jackson?
You mean Wemby or Jokic and then Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think Oso is unfadable. He's not a guy you have to play. I just like him quite a bit at that price tag. So, yeah, totally. I think that a lot of the Jokic lineups will have Isaiah Jackson. They'll be played together quite a bit.
Yeah, it makes sense. I didn't do the math, but they're probably about the same price, right? Right around 15K. What would that be? 15.8 for those two, and then, well, I guess you're saving a little bit with Oso and Klingon, but I know you're not saying Oso's a must play.
Yeah, definitely not. I like him here, but definitely not a must play.
What about let's look at this next game, right? You got Kawhi going home to take on the Spurs. Wemby's just a freak. That dude is so long. I was watching the Piston games a couple, I think Friday nights ago. The dude's just so long. He just blocks shots out of nowhere, can drain threes. Man, he's a good ball player. But talk to me about this game. It should be an interesting game. Like you said, Kawhi, he's in a great spot. But the Clippers at the Spurs.
This might be the highest owned game, oddly enough. And I got nothing bad to say about it. Starting with the Clippers side. So you've got Garland out, which we just mentioned. 4 guys getting ownership here. Just talked about Isaiah Jackson, so don't really need to talk about him anymore. Kawhi, shooting guard, small forward eligible, going back to his old stomping grounds. Yeah, I like Kawhi here. If you're not playing Jokic, Kawhi looks really good because it's not going to be that hard to fit him. You can play him at a bunch of positions. I could see Kawhi being a building block for me here and playing him in 2 or 3 lineups or whatever it is tonight. Talked about Isaiah Jackson again. And then Benedict Mathurin. No Garland here. That microwave score off the bench, 6,400. Yeah, man. I can get on board with some Benny Math at 6,400 here. Not a like ultimate priority for me, like Kawhi might be, but in play for sure. Derek Jones Jr., more pricey than I would like, but value is at such a premium tonight. Like anyone under 5K that's going to play a bunch of minutes like that is at least in play for me. So
no, he sucks, man.
yeah, I don't want to. As I'm talking about him, I'm like, I don't want to play him. So I'm glad you shouted that out because he sucks. I'm not playing him here. But again, I don't think it's the worst play in the world. San Antonio side also getting a lot of ownership, and I don't disagree with it. Talked about the lack of value tonight. Dylan Harper, 4,500 projected for good ownership. We kind of know his deal at this point. He's not going to play a ton of minutes, but he's very productive when he's on the floor. And at 4,500, he just looks really good from a points per dollar perspective on this slate. Keldon Johnson, I was high on him last night. He was okay. I mean, certainly wasn't happy with him, but he didn't kill you either. Priced up here, getting basically the same amount of love because value is so tough to come by tonight. So I'm fine with him here. I'm not like prioritizing him, but you could do a lot worse at 4,300. Wemby himself, he falls in line with like Jokic. Upside in spades, as we saw last night, also has minutes volatility. So
Yeah,
you never know.
39 last night, season high 39 last night, where they've kind of been playing him, high 20s all season. So,
and you kind of expect that to come down on the second half of a back-to-back, but we don't know that. If he plays 35 here, he's going to smash. So in tournaments, at least in play, and then the two other guards outside of Harper, Castle and Fox. Fox, I was high on last night at 6,500, still under 7K, just too cheap for him. He's been inconsistent this year, but you just need so much less from him when he's under 7K that I'm fine with him. And then Castle at 7K even, totally good with. I think this is a game I want a bunch of, even though like I look at it and I'm like, man, the New Orleans Phoenix game looks better from a DFS perspective than San Antonio LA. The pricing is better in this game though. So I get it. Like, I don't think I want to game stack this game and roll like 7 deep in any one lineup, but in any one lineup, I'm probably going to have a couple pieces because the pricing is right here, whether it's Isaiah Jackson and Kawhi and Dylan Harper or Keldon Johnson and Fox. Like, there are just pieces in play all over here.
Let me ask you this. What about 3-point specialist Brooke Lopez, projected to get 30 minutes? Newens brings up a good point with two centers, or, I'll call them two centers, two people that could play center. What about him at 5,100? Maybe a pivot off of Jackson, although the price isn't obviously the same. But what about Brolo?
The pivot would be off of Oso because they're like the same price, and that's gonna be a no for me.
Okay.
Yeah, like I get it because he's like the same price point as Oso and he's going to play a decent amount of minutes, but there's nothing there where I'm like, I think he looks good as a pivot. That doesn't mean that he won't outscore him because DFS is random, but from a projection standpoint, I mean, I'm seeing Oso project like 7, 8, 9 points better, which I think is appropriate.
Would you play Kawhi and Matherin together?
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't play them together, but I think if I'm hand building, like either of them individually look better because I think that like the Matherin big ceiling game probably comes at the expense of Kawhi and vice versa. But there are certainly scenarios where like the Clippers just spike and you want as much LA exposure as you can get, and those are the two main guys. So I wouldn't set any rules against them being together, but if I were hand building, it probably wouldn't happen that often.
Anything else in this Clippers at the Spurs game?
I don't think so.
All right, that'll do it. That's all 6 games. Excellent breakdown there. I think the moral of the story is, are you going to play Nikola? Are you going to play Wemby, high-priced center, where we got some, I'll call them cheaper center options to go through? All right, it's that time of the show, Matt. We got to go. Let's go 7K and below. No, 6K and below. Let's go 6K and below. Who's going to lead the slate? 6K and below. most points tonight.
It's an interesting price point. 6K and below. Who's going to lead the
6K, is
slate
that too low? Maybe 7K. I feel like 7K is too high. I don't know who you're going to say. Well, no, he's over 7K. So, yeah, let's go 7K.
Yeah, 7K is actually trickier for me because under 6K, I was going to say Oso. So under 7K, I am going to say, let's run it back. We'll go De'Aaron Fox, who's just under 7K.
De'Aaron Fox. All right.
Actually, no, I'm changing it right now because it's a guy I love. DeJounte Murray under 7K is my guy here.
That's 6,400. All right. I'm gonna give you a I don't love it, but I'm gonna go with my guy PJ Washington, 6,200.
Okay.
I think he's gonna go for about 20 and 10.
Damn, he's gonna be unowned.
Unowned. You know, I know he's not a center, but no centers. He may get some extra run, may have to play the 5, but I like him. 6,200.
That's the best point you made about him. No, I was gonna say joking the entire show, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. But no, I'm kidding. The best point you made about him. We didn't talk about that, but that's a good point. Like in general, with all their centers out, he might be the guy you want. He could play a ton of center minutes here, and he's not expensive. That's actually really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. Reed, got a couple of Reed Shepherds in there. We don't hate that either. We love Reed Shepherd, especially if Amen or Jabari were to miss. One other thing I was gonna say, and I forgot what it was, but that Tatum. I know you're probably not playing on FanDuel when someone put it in the chat, but Tatum's only 5,500 on FanDuel, which I think is much more palatable if you wanted to play him over there. I'm not saying he is a must play, but at 5,500, he could play 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes and pay off that tag. I don't hate that at all. Any closing remarks before we get out of here for the weekend, Matt?
No, that does sound intriguing though. 5,500 Tatum. Yeah, I'm not. I think I'd probably just play him there, right? Like, I think you just
5,500 doesn't mean you got to.
Yeah, that's weird, but
yeah, first game back. In any event, that'll do it for us. That's all 6 games. We appreciate all 350 of you tuning in. Just do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We come to you 5 days a week when there's 4 or more games in the National Basketball Association. We enjoy bringing these shows to you each week. I got you covered all weekend long in the NBA streets. I'll be out again. Spring break for me and the kids and the family next week. We'll be gone, but Rio, Matt will be back next Friday. Make sure you tune into that same time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For my guy, Matt, I'm Ham. Good luck tonight in your contest. Just ship it.